In today's episode, we dive into some incredible topics that every agent needs to hear. Welcome to another episode of Going For It with Becker. I'm your host, James Becker, and today I am truly honored to be joined by a woman who is a literal powerhouse in the real estate world in Texas. I've had the pleasure of working with Deba Douglas as a partner since 2022. And I have to tell you, she is everything you want in a leader. She is incredibly intelligent and she carries an energy that is absolutely infectious. But what I love most about Deba is her background and how she's translated it into a business that is currently doing over 100 transactions per year. Deba is a former middle school principal, and when she was in college, she was an all-American track star. And she has brought that quote-unquote extreme ownership mindset from the classroom and the track straight into the real estate market. This conversation isn't just about real estate, it's about servant leadership. It's about the discipline of waking up at 4:30 a.m. and why the hamster wheel of chasing leads is a dead end compared to building a genuine brand and genuine relationships. Let's get into it. Welcome to another episode of Going For It with Becker. Today, we have a special guest. I'm super excited to speak with her because she's doing some really great things, and that is Deba Douglas. And she has been a partner with us since 2022, and she is just really killing it. And so welcome to the podcast, to the show, Deba, and I really appreciate you taking time to be here.
Absolutely. I am so honored to be here. James, you are an inspiration to me. So this is such an honor. Thank you so much for having me.
You're an inspiration to me. I mean, what you're doing is terrific. Well, let's start with this. Why don't you share a little bit about who you are, what your past is, and how you ended up being where you are in business and today, and then we'll take it from there.
Yes, absolutely. So I am a former educator. My last stint in education, I was an assistant principal at a middle school in the Plano area, which is in the Dallas-Fort Worth
Okay.
suburb area. And I just did not like my job. I felt like there was more I should be doing with my life. And I had little kids at home and I wanted to be more present for them. And so I decided to take that leap of faith and become a realtor. While I was becoming a realtor, my husband and I were dabbling into real estate investing. And
Okay.
so one of us had to make the jump and say which one of us is going to quit. And I was like, please, please let it be me. And I was able to convince my husband that it was time for me to leave my job. So I
Yep.
left my education world, that's all I knew, in
Yep.
October of 2019, the middle of the
Yep.
school year. And
Woohoo.
a weekend later, I went and took my realtor test and became a realtor.
Awesome.
And my goal at that time was do a lot of rentals. If I can do a rentals, I can cover a little bit of some of my expenses that I was
Yep.
paying for before,
Yep.
and I could dive into real estate to be a real estate investor.
Yep.
And that first year as a realtor, I just knew how to love on people, talk to people, encourage them. I didn't know anything about paperwork. I was just
Yeah.
like, I'll figure that out as we go. And I had great mentors. My first year, I think I sold over 20 houses, and I was like, oh my gosh, this works. And from there on, I've been a top producer. I now have a team of agents. And last year, even in a crazy, crazy, crazy market, we actually did our best and did over 100 transactions and over 25 million in volume.
That is awesome. That is so great. Well, I'm really interested in hearing a little bit more about your lifetime as an educator, and I believe you were an administrator
Yes.
for a junior high school aged group.
Yes.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, a lot of people who are buying and selling real estate, it's a very emotional process. And a lot of people, including myself in my own deals, I lose my maturity sometimes, right? And we have to deal with some of those emotions. And so tell me a little bit of what you didn't like and what skills transitioned for you into business from being basically an administrator, working for the government, basically.
Yes, I catch myself daily saying, "Oh my gosh, this is what I did when I was in education." So, a lot of the things, like you mentioned, it is an emotional roller coaster working with clients on the buying or selling and even the investing side. So,
Yeah.
you spend a lot of time just listening, trying to extract the information that's really going to be needed when you're trying to buy a property or sell a property for them. The other thing is being incredibly organized and being a leader in education. I transition that same leadership with I have to be able to delegate, I have to be able to hire, I have to be able to let people go, and I have to be able to trust the people that handle the day to day for me so that I can truly be present and show up for my clients.
Tell me what does it take to be a good leader, do you think?
Yes, I
Because
feel
I'm
like
still learning. Maybe you can help me.
you know what? I'm still learning too. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I'm a great leader because I'm a servant leader.
Yep.
And I try to empathize with my team and my clients,
Yep.
but I am very clear on the expectations. And I think being a leader is being clear on where we're going and being clear on how we're going to go there, how we're going to get there, and understanding that we're doing this together. So when we have some issues that may happen that we're not ready for or we're not prepared for, we all put our hands together and we figure out, okay, how do we get through this? There may have been someone that dropped the ball, but one thing that we really strive ourselves and our team is that we always implement extreme ownership, that we take full accountability. And even
Did
with
you
my,
get that from Jocko?
I did. I
Okay.
will be honest with you. I have to show this to you because it's literally on my desk. I have the workbook and
There
I'm
you
always
awesome.
utilizing this workbook with my team. Always.
That's
Always.
awesome. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you have any people in the military in your family?
I don't, but I feel that
Okay.
if I would have known I went to college and ran track, I probably would have went to the military because I feel like that very aligns with myself where there's not really a gray, but there is a black and white, but there's a level that we all work together because we're all unison for a team.
Yep. Okay, so what were your events in track?
I ran the 200, the 400, and the 4x1 relay and the 4x4 relay. And I was an All American 2 years in a row in college.
Wow. What was the college that you went to?
Yes, it's a small town in Stephenville, Texas called Tarleton State University.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I ran track in high school, and I ran track because the football coaches made me run track. And I was the fastest in my high school. So I ran the 100, I ran the 200, I ran the 440. So that tells you how old I am. It was
Yeah.
not the 400, it was the 440. All right. That's back when it was yards. And they made me run the mile relay, which
Yeah.
is the 400 and the 800. I don't know how people run that race,
Yeah.
but I'd come around at the 300 yard or meter mark, and I would be seeing double. I wouldn't know what lane I
Yes.
was supposed to be in. Like those
It's a fight to the end.
athletes like you that run like I don't know how you do it. I can run the 100 and 200. 200 was my best race, but
Yes.
anything past 200 I was not very good at. But
Yeah. It's definitely mental. I tell you that it is mental running that 400 and running that relay that if you can do that, everything in life is easy. Seriously. Because it's just a
there's
mental
nothing
thing.
harder than running a 400 full
There is
speed all the
nothing.
way.
Totally. I totally agree with you.
Like just absolutely nuts. So what is it in Jocko's workbook or book that really kind of attracted you to his methodology or his thesis, if you will, of
Yes.
extreme ownership?
Yeah, there's a couple of principles that I love. One of them was it's teamwork. We all have a vision, we all have a mission that we all are striving for. So
Yep.
we even look at our goals for the year as our mission. That is our focus of where we're going, and we're doing it together. The other thing I love is that when some piece or part of the team falls, we all take extreme ownership of that, and we all go back to the drawing board and say, maybe I didn't explain it to you. Maybe I didn't really give you the timeline that I needed it to be done. Instead
Yep.
of us pointing the finger, we are more looking at, okay, let's go back and figure out how can we be better so that we can show up the best for our clients.
Yep. That's awesome. So I'll share something uh, that I don't think is a big secret, but I when I was 23 walked into a men's meeting, which was an AA meeting when I was 23, and I've been sober 37 years now. But I
Wow.
was the youngest in this group. Uh, everybody was 35, 40. I was 23. And, you go in there and, you talk and you share about your day. And this was a group of entrepreneurs. There were legislators in there because we were in Sacramento, attorneys and doctors. And so I got a bunch of big brothers, bunch of
Yeah.
uncles, if you will. But when I would go in there and I talk about how someone did me bad or whatever the case may be, it was always, and your part was, and your
Yes.
part was. So I got that beat into my head as a younger person, and that's really helped me. So every time I find myself mad or frustrated with somebody
Mhm.
else, it doesn't take me too long to
Yeah.
go, okay, what part did I play in this?
Right.
Right? And that's that
Right.
ownership piece.
Yes.
And and if and not a lot of people have, some people get it from their parents or their family, maybe from church or whatever the case may be. But it takes a a and you can tell me what your thoughts. This is my opinion. It takes a level of humility, which is hard for a
Yes.
lot of people, to be
Hmm.
able to say, where did I screw up? Where
Yeah.
was I wrong? And and that's hard. And if you don't have
Yeah.
that, it's really hard to improve. I mean, what are your
It
thoughts
is.
around that?
I totally agree with this because I didn't always go this direction and always learn and lead in this direction. I feel like back in the day, most of my staff members or even people I worked with may say Deba's more like a dictator, but they're only going to do what you tell them to do if you're right there micromanaging them right then at the spot. Is that real leadership? Because then you got to be involved. I
Yeah,
really wanted a business where I could fully engage and say, okay, I support you, I trust you, I want to give you the full autonomy because I have prepared you for different things that may arise. So
right,
you're not blowing me up and calling me because I'm in front of these clients and I don't need my phone pinging at all times.
right.
And so I had to learn that level of humility. I do think a lot of it was my church of realizing that, hey, this isn't in mine anyways. This is all God, and I just trust Him to lead me so I can lead others.
Yeah,
And that helped. And then with, extreme ownership, that's helped. And I will tell you, the heavy burden that I used to carry as a leader, I don't carry it anymore because now I really have a strong team that carries it with me.
yep. It's interesting. I was talking with one of my VPs the other day that has an organization that he runs, and this is gonna sound silly maybe to some people that are listening to this, but and again, this is an AA thing, but it's
Yeah.
a good business plan in my mind is the serenity prayer, which
Yes.
is to accept the things that you cannot change
Hmm.
and the courage to change the things that you can. And
Yeah.
so that's what you're talking about. You're giving
Yeah.
something off to a higher power that you can't
Yeah.
change, but then you got to take ownership of the stuff that you
Hmm.
can. And if you can actually implement those things and you're doing it every day, there's a compounding effect to that
Oh,
that
yes.
is is significant, but it requires a lot of discipline. So where does your discipline come from, Deba?
Oh man, I think, you know what? I think I've always been this way. I think I've always been incredibly disciplined. I'm the middle child out of four kids, so I'm kind of the one that no one really thinks about. So as long as Deborah's taking care of
Middle
her,
high or middle low?
middle high.
Okay,
Yes.
I was middle
Middle
low.
high. Yes. And so
I
I
felt like
think,
I was the lost child.
yes, I always felt like I was a lost child. I always felt like I was the one that, like, oh yeah, we did need to think about Deba. And I just find my way. And so I think just doing that, I had to figure it out on my own
Yep,
and just make things happen. I move
yep,
with a sense of urgency. I think I'm just naturally disciplined. I wake up very early in the morning. I have
yep,
three wonderful kids, but it's a lot going on. So
yep,
I just force myself, wake up at 4:30, get all the big projects out of the way
yep.
so I can be truly present. And then my phone literally blows up from 10 a.m. till about 3 o'clock. And then it kind of simmers down and then I start all over again.
How old are your kids?
I have a 13-year-old boy, an 8-year-old boy, and then I have a 4-year-old daughter.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a good combination.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know what you'll find is easier, the boys or the girls. My son was a handful. That I just showed you the picture. My
Yeah.
daughter was very easy, very compliant. My son,
Oh man, my
not
boys
so,
are so compliant.
not so compliant.
Yes,
Um,
my girl is not compliant. She is definitely a future leader, a future boss, and she definitely, we go back and forth. And I'm like, I see myself in you, so I can't really be mad. I just have to
yeah,
guide you in a positive way.
I'll tell I'll tell you a story, and I don't know for the people of listening if this will apply, but I think it does. So my son, when he was 13, 14, he was getting into trouble all the time. And, oh, I was just late or someone did this, is always someone else's fault. And I said, okay, listen, we're going to go for a walk. And so we're walking down the neighborhood and we're on a sidewalk. And I said, Donnie, whatever you do, do not go into the street. And he looked at me. And then I pushed him into the street. And he was on the curb. And he looked at me weird and he came back on. I said, damn it, Donnie, I told you don't go in the street. And then we walked and I pushed him in again. I go, damn it, Donnie, I told you not to go in the street. And he's looking at me like, what the heck is going on, right? And so I do this like 5 or 6 times. And I said, you know why you're going into the street? It's because you're on the edge, right?
Yeah.
Get on the
Yes.
other side, get away from the
Yes.
edge. And then I tried to throw him in. And he was a wrestler. I couldn't get him in
Yeah.
into the street. But you know what? I find that with employees and people that I'm leading, that if they're on the edge, one little thing goes bad, there's no safety zone,
Yes.
right? And like if you're going to get to an appointment on time, don't wait to the last second. Like give yourself 10, 15 minutes. Do
Yes.
the things so that you can show up for people the way that you say
Right.
you're going to show up. And again, that
I
might
love
be
that.
just a silly story, but I think it was divinely inspired at the moment because I was trying to get a message across
Yes.
to, and he's turned out to be wonderful, but those were certainly some challenges. So tell me about your business. What makes you successful in more of a tactical way? So I think we're
Yeah.
picking up that you're disciplined and you're organized and you're disciplined about being organized. But tell me a little bit about what what makes your business go and maybe how we help you a little bit, how that
Yeah.
intertwines with you, and share with me a little bit
Yes.
about that.
Yeah, so what I do that I feel like makes me successful is that I'm the same person you're going to meet face to face than you see on social media. There's no confusion. And what I love is that partnering with Fusion has really helped my business 100x it, if that's really a word. Like it has really pushed my business to a level where I may see someone in church and say, "Oh, I just got your mailer," or "I just got your email," or I may reach out to them and just say, "Hey, just thinking about you." And then I'll send out like a personal video message and saying happy birthday to you. So having those indirect and intentional touches makes them see that Deba's busy, but she's still thinking about me. So it kind of reminds you of, like, just thinking biblical, God will leave the 99 for the one. And so,
Yep.
as much as I have a lot going on, I am still thinking about you. I still know about your business. I still know about us buying that house together, and they'll still know about your kids. And Fusion helps me do that with me not being so heavily involved. Like, did we send that out? Did we do these touches?
Yep.
So it
You
helps my
need white
business
space in
grow.
your head to
You
be able to focus
do.
on the big rocks.
You do. You
Because
do.
if you're too cluttered, you're picking up little pebbles and you're not focused on
Yes,
the big rocks. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. One of the things that I believe 100% we're betting our whole business on, our whole business model, is that in traditional real estate, you get leads and then people call and they sell the
Yeah.
person. And I
Hmm.
believe that leads have a diminishing return because you have to have 50 to 100 of them to close the deal. And it
Right.
takes a long time to develop a trust relationship with those people.
Mhm.
And I believe that the persuasion of the sale happens before they have a need,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
so people that you're and I don't people just don't get this concept that if you have mind share and they believe that you're a good person and that you're competent at your job, you don't have to sell
You don't have to.
because they're just calling you and saying, "Hey, I need to talk
Yes.
about selling my house or I'm thinking about buying a house." And just about everybody that's in our database is going to do business in the next 10 years. Just
Yes.
about every single person. So
Hmm.
it's just a matter of waiting until they have a need, and
Yes.
then you can harvest all of those people out versus trying to find someone that has a need in the next 3 months, which is
Yes.
insane.
It's insane. It's kind of like the hamster wheel of insanity. Like, we just keep doing it. You're paying for these leads, you're doing this, you're doing all these things, but you
Yep.
really haven't created a sustainable business that is consistent, and you're not chasing the leads. The leads are actually naturally coming to you, and you get to work with the people you really want to work with because you like these people.
Right. And they want to work with you. And so then the interaction is relationship and not
Yeah.
selling. And
Not selling.
selling, that's a burnout game, I think, for most people, particularly if you have a servant's heart and that's the way that you do business. One of the underlying things that we have with the people who do the best with fusion um, is that they are just so focused on taking care of people
Hmm.
and they just let whatever is going to happen happen. If they make a
Yes,
deal, they make a deal. If they don't make a deal, they don't make a deal. And those are the people who end up making lots of deals. It's
they do.
it's it's the irony of business and so you have attracted a team. You're doing a lot of business. You did over 100 sales. Um, you've been with us since 2022, and I really got interested in what you're doing because you are really trying to serve the people that are in your sphere of influence that maybe don't have the financial literacy, which is 90% of the population, by the
Yes,
way, um,
absolutely.
and to help them build some financial legacy through real estate. I think what you're doing so cool. Would you be willing to share what it is that you're doing and how you're doing it and what the structure is to help your people build financial legacy, if you will? Is that a good way of saying it, or would you say it another way?
Yeah, I would say that is spot on what I'm doing. So when I left education, my husband and I started investing in real estate, and I documented everything because, one, I was terrified and I really knew a lot of people wanted to see if this was going to work or not.
Yep.
So I would start documenting when we bought a property, we turned it into a rental, or when we flipped a property, or whatever I was doing with real estate, building houses, whatever that was. And that led to a lot of people wanting to pick my brain. And I would stop what I was doing, meet them for coffee, meet up with them, do whatever I could. And then this course kind of evolved from that, where now I have a set course that people come through. We teach them financial literacy, we teach them how to build wealth with real estate, and we guide them through. And not only do we just like sit there with them and tell them this is what you need to do, we hold their hand into buying their first investment property. We connect with them, we show them how to analyze deals, we connect them with our preferred lenders so that they can get the funding that they need for little to no money to get into their first investment property. And then I have created a team from my mentorship of former mentees that are now coaches, and they're the ones that go out to the properties with the mentees, hold their hand, guide them, just kind of be like a nudge of encouragement because it is scary. And then we give them the contractors, and then my team turns around in the back end and we list the properties for them. So we kind of created an ecosystem of what I wish
It's
I
awesome.
had. It really started with I created something I wish I had,
And it
and
starts with just offering education.
that's it. That's it. Loving on people, encouraging them, really showing that anyone can do this, and we're going to give you the step-by-step guidance to get to the other side.
Yep. So I saw a video that came up in my um, social media feed. I think it was probably Facebook. And you were talking to a group, I'd say about 13 people, and it looked like you were in a living room with no furniture, so maybe a vacant house.
Mhm.
And you were saying, look, this is not emotional. It's not. You don't want to buy a house because you grew up on this street. You don't want to buy it because you think it's cute. It's all about the numbers. And you were very direct. You were on point, and you were absolutely a leader, and I could see how a lot of people would be attracted to that. But you had a big group of people that were in there. So tell me a little bit about this class. Is it they come into a dinner? Are they doing it online? Are there workbooks? Like what? Tell me a little bit more about it.
Yeah, so it is very hands-on. So we meet every week for about an hour, and it's via Zoom, and we're going over like how to analyze deals. We'll have guest speakers on, like a hard money lender and different things of that nature. And then every other weekend on Saturday, we will meet at a distressed property where they get the hands-on. We're going to walk this property. We're going to point out things so you know when it's time for you to walk your
Awesome.
property, you know what to look for. We also give them an example like, here's your bid sheet. I want you to walk in the house and you tell me what your estimates are going to be. We even practice with
So they
them
can
on,
kind of estimate how much it would cost to fix up a
yes,
house.
absolutely. So they walk away with the tools that they need to go and execute. And our goal is to show them how to find these deals. My team also finds deals as well. So it's for them to pick up as well.
Yeah.
But it is for, hey, we have provided you a deal. Just because we provided you the deal, we still want you to be competent and know how do you analyze it? Does
Right.
this numbers make sense for you? And if
Right.
it does, then you go out and you walk it. Usually someone walks it with them just as a enforcer to just
Right.
support them.
Yep.
But it creates that level of ownership because I don't want them to feel like, well, I'm going to buy this deal because Deba says it. No, don't buy it because of me because my mindset of what I'm buying is different than yours. But
Right.
I need you to have all the competencies and all the skills so that you can execute. And then we're just there to hold your hand and support you.
So how do you advise individuals? Are you advising buy and hold? Are you advising flipping? Like what is your strategy on that?
Yes. Well, I'll be honest with you, James. My original strategy is teaching people to buy and hold. That is the true wealth divider that I
Yep,
think that
I
entry
agree
level trying to
100%.
get wealth, you need to buy
Yep,
and hold. But
yep,
unfortunately, in the society we live in, and I get it, people really don't people want to do the buy and hold, but they're just not quite ready because they don't have the liquidity. Because when
yep,
you're doing buy and hold, you really don't need a lot of the money this month or next month. You're
yep,
looking at the long-term equity of like, I
yep.
need this for later on in life. So
Yep.
what we teach them is do a flip to get you some capital, but that
Yep.
next property you buy, if the numbers make sense, we want you to turn into a rental.
Yep.
And then the other property you buy, you do a flip and you just kind of go back and forth because yes, it's great to make 25, 30,000, but
Yep.
that money will disappear within months.
Right.
But if you buy a rental, let's you're cash flowing maybe three, $400, but the equity you're getting
Yep.
is life changing.
Well, it's so interesting because I've studied a lot of investors, and I've invested in my business more than I have anything else, and so I'm more of an operator than I'm an investor. But I don't know if you're interested in this, but Warren Buffett and Charles Munger would have their annual meeting in Omaha, and
Mhm.
it's now where like 100,000 people will come, and they are on stage, but it used to be smaller. But there's 35 years of them talking about business and buying, and it's like 5 or 6 hours per meeting, and it's all on
Wow.
YouTube. And so I've listened to all of their conversations on how they buy and how they hold and how they're looking for quality, and
Yeah.
you can't do a good deal with a bad person, and just
Yeah.
all this common sense stuff. And but Warren and Charles Munger, their whole the richest men in the world to a certain
Yeah.
extent. Um, all of their wealth came from buying quality and not selling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. And then you just allow time to do its thing.
You let time do its thing.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And Charles Munger, I was listening to him the other day, and he says, the decisions that we made, you know, was out of all of the years we did it, it was like 20 really good deals that we made. And
Hmm.
so, that's one a year,
Yeah.
just one a year, doing it
Yeah.
full time. And then, you know, Warren Buffett, and again, this is just all this kind of common sense type of stuff that I really like. But Warren Buffett said it's not about intelligence, it's about
Mhm.
disposition. Because
Yeah.
when the market goes down, people panic
Panic.
and they sell. But if you know you have a good company,
Yeah.
right, it's going to
Yeah.
come back up. The stock market is just the
Yes.
voting machine. And that can be the same thing with real estate as well. And of course, there are some things that you have to sell and get rid of and upgrade. But for the most part, what you're doing and what you're teaching people is awesome. And so, how
Good.
many classes do you do a year, and how many people come in, and then how much business do you get out of that?
Yeah, so last year, for example, we did three different cohorts, and each cohort is about 4 months.
Yep.
And last year we had 53 students that came in,
Yep.
and I want to say about 100% bought something.
Wow. That's
And
amazing.
what we've seen in the years past, so this is our third year of doing the course. What
Yep.
we have seen is that 89% of our mentees will buy a property. 78% of them will turn around and buy a second property. And 84% of them will turn one of those into a rental property. And what we have seen with that is if we continue to love on them, support them, guide them, they're going to buy more properties. So my team is going to, for like, honestly, we just do the numbers game. How many deals do we want to close in a year? What are our numbers of finding deals for the mentees? We continue to love on them. We continue to support them. We give them what they need in the front end, and then the deals will come. And that's kind of how our model of our ecosystem of why we've been able to do so many deals while at the same time I'm reaching out to my community because a lot of my students, I will say, are mentees. They're in my family. I've worked with them. I've bought them houses. I've sold them houses. They've already been in my sphere and then they're seeing this, so they automatically trust me. And on social media, I just put everything out there because I want to be transparent. I don't want to be a
Yep.
guru. I just want you to know, hey, I had a rough day because this tenant did not pay rent today, and this is how I'm dealing with it. And I just put everything out there so people
Yep.
can feel like she's relatable,
Yep.
but she has found a way to build wealth, and you can do it too.
Yep. I love that. You have said several times in this conversation that if you continue to love on people,
Yeah.
and in my business plan that I don't know if you've read it, but in the forward of the plan, I spend a few paragraphs on love. That love is really what scales a business. Loving
Hmm.
your customers, loving trying to provide for them. Those are the things that really turn things on in a big way. And again, this is also cliche, but it's real.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so how do you love on people? What does that mean to you?
I go the extra mile. So I do have a team. Everyone has their thing they're supposed to do, but every Wednesday, I just go through my Rolodex of people that are working on flips, and I will call them or I'll send them a nice little message and say, just thinking about you. How are things going? Let me know if you need anything. I'm here. I will show up at their properties when when they don't know I'm supposed to be there. And I just show up and I say, hey, I stopped by your house. I saw this and that. You're doing an amazing job with my, regular residential clients. Even if I work with you 5 years ago, I'm going to reach back out to you and just check on you. Or if I see
Yep.
something you're doing on social media, let's say you're pregnant or you just had a baby, I'm going to send you like something in the mail just to say I'm thinking about you.
Right.
I think
I love it.
I do what I wish someone would have done for me.
Yep.
And I feel like that is what overflows my cup.
Yep.
And because real estate is very transactional, like you do all this work with them for 4 or 5 months, and then when the transaction is over, they're like, bye, I see you for another
Yep.
7 years. So I just like to build that rapport with them
Yep.
and just let them know I really care and I really want the best for your property. One thing that I always do that my clients say, like most realtors would not do, if I go on a listing appointment, they're ready to sell. And I'm probably going to talk to them and say, okay, well, why do we want to sell? There's a lot of equity. Have we thought about renting it out? Have we thought
Yep.
about doing a cash out refinance?
Yep.
And they will always say, I've talked to several other realtors and no one cares that much about my
Yep.
end goal of what I'm trying to do.
Yep.
And they appreciate that. And maybe
Yep.
I've lost the sale, but I have guaranteed a client for life.
Yep. That is for sure. And you're practicing what our number one fundamental is at Fusion, which is being the agent that you would personally want to hire yourself,
Yes,
which is
absolutely.
hard to do. You know
Yeah.
that means you have to go the extra mile. You have to work hard. You have to show up. You have to answer the phone. You have to care. And again,
Yes.
these are all cliche things, but they matter. They
They
really, really
matter
matter.
and they really work. They really, really work.
Yep. If you were giving advice to a brand new agent, what would you say?
Give yourself some grace and be authentically yourself. Just be authentic and love on people. And I hate to say this, your family and friends are probably not going to be the first people that work with you, and that's okay. Go
Yep.
out and find strangers that will love on you, that will support you, and then watch your family come like a flood.
Yep. If someone is doing business um, at the 8-10 million range and they want to go to 100 transactions, what would you recommend?
I would definitely recommend that they connect with Fusion because if you want to see your business just skyrocket to a whole nother level, you need Fusion to have your back. And I'll say the thing that I love about Fusion is all the additional pieces that they support you with the bookkeeping. Oh my gosh, before I joined Fusion, my bookkeeping was all over the place. It was a mess. And now that I
Yep.
have a bookkeeper and we meet every month, she forces me to be disciplined on like where is the money, what are happening, what's going on. And
Yep.
that's been huge. And even a huge shout out to James Kraft, my coach.
Yep.
I tell him everything.
Such a
Like I'm
good
like,
dude.
he is so amazing, so patient with me. We have had up and down craziness where I'm like, I just want to fire everybody. And he's like, well, let's pull it back. Let's pull the layers back and let's talk about this.
That's
And
great.
it's just been a great support system because
Yep.
being a top producing agent and before I really started building the team, you're kind of out there by yourself trying to figure this out. And you
Yep.
really don't have anyone that knows your business well enough to
Yep.
support you. And having Fusion, it's kind of like a family where
Yep.
I'm like, I don't know where I should start. So I always start there with James and he guides me on what's next, like
Yep.
books to read,
Well,
different levels of my business. He's right there beside me.
that's awesome. And James is wonderful, and it is a partnership. It really
Yeah.
is. And well, Deba, you are just an amazing person in so many different ways. And I just feel so blessed to be in business with you. I really have enjoyed this conversation. I could go on for hours, but I know that you're busy. And so thank you so much for being here and really appreciate you on a very deep level.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.